I've already got made notes, one. Cheers. Well done, guys. Yeah.
It's like a honeymoon.
Today, we have the opportunity to interview the owners, brand new owners of Balance Hull number 12 of 482, John and Bryn Moody, who live in Richmond, Virginia. I think we first talked to you guys 3 years ago.
It had to be beginning of 2021.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And what prompted you to reach out to us?
We were doing due diligence on Balance, and we wanted to talk to other Balance owners and people who had ordered Balance boats. And I guess we called Phil Berman, and he gave us a bunch of names, and we reached out to you, and you guys live just up the road from us. So
We were
it made a lot
amazed
of,
at that. Yes.
Yeah.
And we'd actually seen some of your videos, so it's been great.
What other boats did you consider in your process?
Well, it's funny. So we've been monohull sailors from the get-go.
Consistently. This was
Since-
not even on the thought process.
Yeah, I mean, we bought our first boat in 2002. It was an Allied Sea Breeze, beautiful old boat, and then we moved up in 2012. We got a Hans 415. Great boat, fun boat to sail.
We do have 3 boys.
Yeah.
So there was a reason behind trying to get a larger boat to kind of contain the chaos. Or whatever you want to call it.
3 boys for sure.
Yes, 3
Good.
boys,
Yeah.
and that was a good solution then for that, for sure.
And then, we thought we wanted a boat that we could go a little bit further on, be a little bit more comfortable. And really, since the get-go, me and my friend Jim, who you all have met, and Bryn too, but we would go to the boat show every year. And probably in 2015, we met Phil Berman, and he had, I think it was a 451.
Right.
And liked it. I'd never been a huge fan of catamarans. And so when we were thinking about a larger boat, we were looking at a monohull. I guess January, we were talking to our friend David and Allison Lenars, and they had just ordered 526. And that prompted me to think, oh my gosh, I remember meeting Phil.
Right.
Those boats look really cool. So I called Phil, and he said, oh, we have a boat in Fort Lauderdale.
Yeah.
You should test sail it. And so we went down and we test sailed Blue Diamond. And so when we went out on the monohull, and we were in the Gulf Stream, and it was blowing maybe 15 knots, and the boat was maybe going 7 knots. It was a beautiful boat, great boat.
Yeah.
But we were heeling over, and Brent's not a huge fan of heeling, and she's asking me to
I
level
share
out
the
the boat.
sentiment.
in the crooked.
Yeah, life in the heel.
And so the next day we went out on Blue Diamond, and it was the same wind conditions. The boat was sailing, if I remember correctly, 10 to 12 knots and about 15 knots of breeze.
Yeah.
And Bryn was happy as a clam.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
You know what I say? Once you sail flat, you never go back.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Yes.
And the boat was just so impressive.
Yeah.
It was.
It sounds corny, but I think Balance has struck the right balance between performance and comfort and aesthetics. I mean, to me, aesthetics it's an important part of. I mean, you want to, when you leave your boat, you want to stop and look back at the boat. It's like, boy, that's a pretty boat. And I think you do that with
absolutely.
Balance boats.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Now, why did you say you were pretty against catamarans? Like that was kind of out of your purview.
Because monohulls talk to you, right? So
Right.
when a monohull gets overpowered,
You
it's
know it.
really easily, you can tell that you need to put a reef in. With catamarans, not necessarily the case. You can't tell how much power is on the rig, so you have to sail more by the numbers. And they act a little bit differently too. So when you get a puff in a monohull, you can kind of follow that puff up.
Right.
You don't necessarily want to do that in a cat. You want to bear off. And so, you know, I just was more comfortable. And to me, I thought that, well, a monohull, it's safer because it does talk to you and you know when it's overpowered.
Yeah.
Right.
No, that's absolutely valid. That's a very good concern. I think we've heard that many, many times as well. You know, with a monohull, you're in the water. A catamaran, you're on the water.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. But it's definitely a different sailing process. I mean, it's still a sailboat, regardless of how you look at it. But, yeah.
But the other thing that's great about these boats is they have a very nice light helm. You get good rudder feedback when you're sailing the boat,
Definitely.
and they're fun to sail.
Game changer.
Game changer.
It is a game
It's a
changer.
game changer.
Absolutely.
And then
Yeah.
what other catamarans did you look at?
So not a lot.
Yeah.
You
not a
know,
lot.
I mean, we looked at the Outremer, great boats, but aesthetically and interior in terms of the storage, we weren't-
For what we needed.
How did you find how are you finding the customer service from Balance?
Wow.
You want to answer it, or you want me to?
From my perspective, everything has been tip top.
Mm-hmm.
Any concerns? They're on it immediately.
I think, you know, talking to Mark Delaney from the get-go, I just got a sense that, and talking to other owners too, that they, you know, number one, I think they're very proud of the boats that they build, and I think they want to make sure that the customer experience is a good one. And
Yeah.
so far, what we've experienced is exactly that.
Yes.
You know, have there been issues with the boat? Sure, there have been issues. But if you think about it, this is a complex system of a bunch of subsystems, and things are going to happen. But as long as they're there to step up and make sure that everything's right, then it's a good experience.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's been our experience thus far too.
Oh my God.
I mean, it's a learning process in a lot of regards,
Yeah, it's a lot
but
of
it's a new boat, and
Mm-hmm.
like we've repeatedly said, not everything works. That's the acronym for new. But you know,
Well, they
But-
say that. They say things are going to come up, and they have
Yes.
come up.
Yeah.
But you get a swarm of guys working on your boat to make it right.
exactly.
The
Yeah.
follow
Exactly.
through is tremendous.
Yeah.
And I think we definitely saw that when we were in St. Maarten. Owners from hull number 2 through whatever number at that point in time, Balance, to your point, John, they just swarmed the boats.
Yep.
I mean, they were bringing in parts, they were flying in parts, they were just running around on the dinghies like, hey, this belongs on your boat and this belongs on your boat, just to make
Yeah.
sure that those fixes are put into place.
Well, the other thing is that when we were doing the due diligence, we talked to you guys, we talked to Scott Hawthorne, we talked to Jim Forney, we talked to Galileo, and so the sense was, you know, at the front that there was a real community of Balance. And I'll say since then, as you guys know, we have the Slack channel, and I guess it's not as active as it used to be, but there really is a real quote unquote Balance family. And what you guys saw 2 weeks ago when we had, how many owners did we have on board for the
Oh my
party?
gosh,
That was
right.
the
That was
best.
amazing.
Tremendous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for hosting.
Yeah.
It's just it's a fun group of
so
people.
Fun.
It is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Bryn,
Yes.
Yeah. Here we go.
as you know, it's kind of the secondary,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's the right wording.
Yes, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts? How do you feel about this next step in
I'm
your
excited.
journey?
I'm excited. It's been a process,
Mhm.
and the time has allowed me to kind of get my head around potentially what life is going to look like going forward. I give so much credit to John for all the homework that he has done and figuring out size-wise what we need. And I'm just excited for what's gonna take place going forward and all the memories that we're gonna be able to create on here. It's a pinch me kind of moment with
For sure.
it really is.
In terms of
Mm-hmm.
sailing the boat, where do you feel you're at? And I'll ask this because Ann and I, we're kind of unique in that it's the husband that brings the spouse in.
Yeah.
Ann brought me into this.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah, that's right. Right. But that being said, I think that something that we have seen with a lot of other couples is exactly that. It's the husband that brings the wife in. And sometimes the wife is reluctant,
here.
but you don't seem reluctant.
I'm not.
But
I'm
what
not
would make
reluctant.
you more comfortable with being in charge of the boat or sailing the boat or, just feeling more comfortable sitting at the helm?
The gift of time for me. That's
Sure.
where I learn by doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I just need the time.
Yeah.
John is the captain, 100%. So we're shifting gears from a monohull, and I was just getting kind of comfortable in that lane, and now we've come into this lane. But I feel like it might be almost easier, just because it's a bigger boat. It's not.
You don't have to deal with the healing.
I don't have to deal with the healing. It's more user friendly. I'm excited about the learning curve, and I think it's a more realistic one for me.
That's good.
Because I did not grow up sailing, and
Yeah.
I know a lot of people that are in my position are similar in that way, where they were brought into this, kind of like you're saying.
Dragged into it.
Okay, drag, whatever, brainwashed, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I am excited to learn, and
Yeah.
I think that it's doable.
Well, and I think you played a support role when your kids were younger, and so you were kind of in the back seat in terms of keeping the kids. So
In the boat, literally.
and
Uh-huh.
Managing their needs.
yes.
But now I think you have a unique opportunity where you're able to really focus on you and sailing and gaining those skills.
Mhm.
So I think you're going to find it to be you're going to have that opportunity to learn at your pace.
Well, and I'm going to be leaning on people like you all, and you, and
Mhm.
some of these other captains that are on the boat, and just learning. With.
Mhm.
I'm not doing the crossing.
I was just going to say
You might have had
that.
that question in your back pocket. but-
I
Although
did.
I
will
think she's
say.
actually considered it. I think she's like,
Ooh. Well,
Okay, so
yeah.
why not? Why not do the crossing?
So,
What
I just
better
don't-
opportunity
what
to
better
learn?
opportunity to learn?
And it's
I
a
know.
beautiful crossing. It's supposed to be the best passage of,
It's
around
a
the
long
world.
time.
Yeah,
It
it
would
is
be
a long time.
It'd be a long first passage. I will
So-
say
It
that.
is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
for
It's
sure.
definitely a fire hose.
Yeah.
And we've been married a long time, and I really want to stay married. So I think I will wait until we get the boat to the next location,
Yeah. Well,
and that's to be
Actually,
determined.
yeah.
But
For sure.
I think the next location, and then I will join John at that time.
And on that note,
Yeah.
long-term sailing plans.
So we are not as ambitious as some like you guys to head off to the
Yeah.
Pacific. I think that we'll see how it goes, but at least initially we'll take it to Grenada or Granada, however you pronounce it. Leave it there for a little bit. We're trying to figure out if we want to either do that or bring it straight up to the Chesapeake. But once we get it to the Chesapeake, I think we'll probably be quite happy just going up north in July and August, so Newport, Maine,
Oh
maybe
my
Nova
gosh.
Scotia,
Yeah.
and then going down to the islands in the wintertime
Yeah.
and just having fun on the boat.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, it's a fun boat to sail.
What additional sail gear did you buy? You had mentioned buying a manual furler.
Yeah, we took that back. So
Okay.
we ended up. So we got the power furling unit. We got the sail inventory is a main jib, A2, symmetrical or asymmetrical spinnaker, and then a code 55, Jenniker or code 0, whatever. Nice thing about that is that when we're up on the Chesapeake, that's a sail that you can sheet inboard of the shrouds, so it's almost like a big Jenny.
Yeah.
And up there, we generally have light winds, and so I think it'll help the boat out a lot when we're trying to go a little bit closer to the wind. They make these snatch low friction rings that you can get. I don't know if you've seen them, but I'm going to order some of them. I couldn't get them over here in Africa, but we'll order some of them when we get back to the U.S. And Balance actually added a couple of strong points up on the side decks to help for rubber hauling and things of that nature.
Right.
So, and then we've got a bunch of extra halyards and sheets and
Okay.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
What are specific features that you like about the boat that you've discovered? Both of you.
Well, the Versahelm is awesome.
Yeah.
You know, we sailed up to Ascension Island last week, and you know, being able to put that down when it's cold out is just it's a game changer.
That was a game changer, most definitely.
But we knew about it, you know, so that wasn't unanticipated.
The overall livability and layout and whatnot in the 482 is really, it worked incredibly well. We had
6 people on the boat,
yes,
and it just accommodated us all.
privacy,
And,
comfort.
But
Yeah.
I mean, just overall, just the way she feels when you're helming her is great. It's just a
Yeah.
I mean, to me, this is our last monohull was great in the sense that, you know, the rudder was way out on the stern of the boat. The boat would turn on a dime, but it was also a really responsive type of helm. This is, I think, a good analog for a catamaran. So,
Good. That's awesome. So your boat is named Hokulea.
Yes.
Tell us what that means
so
and how you came up with that name.
well, initially we were thinking Ode to Joy or something like that, and we were looking around for a South African name for a joy. We could come up with anything that we liked. So then we started thinking, well, catamarans initially were kind of Polynesian in origin. At least I think they were. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But, and so we, you know, did some research on Hawaiian names, and it turns out Hokulea is Star of Gladness in Hawaiian. And being on a boat's being on a happy place.
Yeah.
And there was actually a boat that was built in the 70s that was built to, you know, kind of replicate the ancient ways of navigation. And if you Google it, there's a Polynesian, you know, or Hawaiian star compass. And it's got the names of the stars around the compass, and then it has a frigate bird in the middle of it. And so our logo is a takeoff on a Polynesian star compass.
Beautiful. I like that.
Yeah. Do you have any other things you'd like to add?
If you're thinking about doing it, do it.
Oh.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Life's short.
life
Life is short.
Work hard,
and-
play hard,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
yeah, for sure.
Yes.
And have a GTFO plan.
Yeah.
Yes.
GTFO.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for the opportunity to interview you guys. Thank you for hosting us.
Absolutely.
And it's been awesome getting to know you guys much more this past couple of weeks.
Oh, it's been great. We've
Same
definitely
with you
enjoyed
all.
it.
Yes.
It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's been a game changer.
It's been a game
for
changer.
us as well.
All right, we wanted to introduce you to Luca. He is a personal chef that Hokulea has been using while here in South Africa. And, well, Bryn, let's start with you. What made you think to hire a chef?
So, when we came over, we initially thought we were going to have the opportunity to perhaps be out on the water for 4 or 5 days. And we thought, we had heard from another Balance owner that they had hired a chef for that time frame. And we thought, that's an incredible idea. How wonderful. I mean, this boat lends itself to so many things, and how incredible could that be if we had that opportunity for a personal chef. And with that, Luca was recommended to us.
I moved to Cape Town from Port Elizabeth 4 years ago. and then I was at Silwood Culinary School, and voted the best culinary school in Africa at the moment. So I did that for 2 years, and then I also did a year of industry in the restaurants at some of the top fine dining restaurants in Africa. Learned a lot there, hard work and everything, but it's definitely prepared me for what I did here. Super grateful for those opportunities. And then did my own little pasta business for a while, really enjoyed that. And then I always had a plan to go onto the yachts from the beginning since I started chef school, but then that kind of swayed a bit where I kind of wanted to go more into the restaurants. But then, I don't know, something just called me back. I've always been drawn to the water, always stayed by the beach back at home. All the sports I've played, like water polo, has always spend like 4-6 hours a day in the pool and stuff. Whenever I go inland, I feel disorientated, you know. I don't know where I am, I don't know where to look and stuff. I don't like the air, you know, it's too thin. So I always said I have to be by the water, and maybe one day when I live on the water, it'll be even better. So yeah, I think the yachting just called me back, and now I recently just finished my chef courses for the yachting also, as well as my deckhand courses.
Now, would you be willing to do a passage on a balanced boat?
Definitely. To me,
Alright.
it sounds insane in a way, but at the same time, it's like that's a story for a lifetime, you know. Like,
Yes.
I can just imagine. I would enjoy it. I think there will be hard times, but you know, sometimes the hard times are the good times at the end of the day.
So what do you think boat owners should know for provisioning for a crossing?
Okay, so I've spoken to John and Bryn about this actually. So before I started cooking here, I did some preparations at home. Like I did like smoked tomato pasta sauce and stuff like that. I did a butter chicken curry at home, and then they freeze really well. So you just make your portions and your batches. You put them in Ziploc bags, and a Ziploc bag, like a nice big one, and it'll basically be like that, just that thick, and then in the freezer it fits perfectly in there, and you will be able to fit a lot of packets in those freezers, especially if you convert them all to freezers and stuff like that. And then your dry store things like the pasta and rice for the curries and stuff like that won't go off in anything. So there you got your meat already frozen and stuff. So in terms of provisioning, you're saving a lot of space, you're not worried about things going off, and also a lot less time cooking on the water, and that means a bit more fun for everyone, you know, on the water. And yeah, you can rest assured that you can plan properly, that you're going to have enough meals for everyone. And you can also make it better, because since you can't take so many things on board, only the essentials for a crossing. And then obviously the bread maker and stuff like that, take a lot of flour and all the yeast and everything. And then leftovers, just like for lunch, make sandwiches, and then for dinner just like have a proper meal again, because I feel like a crossing's more about feeding and not indulging at the end of the day. Yeah. So that's my advice I would give.
Do you feel there are specific cutlery, essentials, pans that you recommend people have?
Okay, so I did bring a couple of things on board. I also bought a couple of things for the Moody's to keep on board. So definitely like at least 2 metal trays for the oven. That's always needed. I always recommend a cast iron, just because it's so durable and stuff like that. Just always put a little layer of oil, especially on the sea. Don't want that to start rusting and stuff. And then obviously just like some spatulas and everything. But generally the kitchen stuff, actually I was worried at first about the size and everything, but to be honest, it's been great. It's worked perfectly. I haven't really had struggles. I would definitely also just get a little drying mat, which you can place right next to the sink. Just makes life much easier and things don't slip and stuff like that. And then a lot of cloths, always a lot of cloths for drying and for cleaning and everything like that.
We came very prepared.
And always enough dishwashing liquid. You always need enough of that, because things can get a bit greasy, and you also don't want to block up your paper towel, because you don't want to be throwing the oil down the drains, so you want to be wiping out as much as possible.
That's right.
So-
I noticed you doing that. So
Yes.
with the plates, she kind of did a dry wipe of all the plates before washing them, so all that oil didn't go down
I
the
was
sink.
following Luca's lead.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that was
Yeah, that's
a
one of the
great
things they
pro
taught
tip.
us.
Yes.
And if you're going to do any frying and stuff, just get like make sure you have some empty bottles on board. Then you can just throw the oil back into that. Obviously let it cool down first, and don't fry anything when it's a bit rough.
Yeah.
You don't want to mess with the oil when there's rough waters.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you can also, for example, the curries that I said to make, You can just get some poppadons. I don't know. Apparently, you guys don't know what poppadons are.
Yeah, what I was gonna say.
Oh,
What
it's
are
like an
poppadons?
Indian.
Amazing.
It's like an Indian thing. You just put in there. You fry it, and like it all puffs up, and it's like a very thin cracker type thing.
Oh, it's kind of like a tortilla,
Yes.
but puffy
Yes.
and light.
Yes.
I love those.
And
So
that's
how do you-
nice. And
How do you spell that? Poppadom?
Poppadons. I'm not 100% sure, but
Don't
I hope
quote
it
him
is.
on that.
I'm sure if
Yeah.
you Google it, it'll still come up.
Yes.
It's close enough.
So I'm gonna really put you on the spot
Okay.
here. You ready for
Okay.
this? Why should any owner, Balance obviously, any owner, pick you as a chef?
I could say I love what I do. You know, I enjoy this work. I love being active. I'm used to long hours. Like, yeah, these hours aren't. I've had way longer hours. Let's just say that. And yeah, it's been a great time. The Moody's have just been super good to me and everything, and I've really enjoyed my time on the boat.
Yeah.
And I would love to experience this with other guests also, and provide some good food. Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So how can people reach you?
Okay, so you can contact me on Instagram. My name is Ludika on Instagram, so I'm going to spell that for you. It's a bit of a weird one. So it's LUDEKE__, and then yeah, you should find me and just pop me a DM, and I'll be happy to answer.
Yeah. And we'll also put all his deets, his WhatsApp and name and Insta in the description below.
Perfect.
All right.
I'm very grateful for that.
Yes.